Hey YouTube, Ryu here. Me and my cousin just got back from watching the new Power Rangers movie, and I gotta admit, I was pleasantly surprised with it. I was expecting them to screw it up in some way or go too cheesy, kind of like the original series. I mean, anyone who's a fan of the series, gotta admit it's kind of cheesy. I mean, yeah, it was low budget back in the day, and I think it's still even lower budget technically by today's standards. Um, but I think they struck a really good balance. It was an excellent reboot. Um, they changed up the characters in very good ways. They definitely added more of that human element to the characters, which really I think helps kind of attach you to the characters. Um, there's something that ends up happening in it. I'm gonna try not to do really any spoilers, but there's one part in it where it actually hits you in the feels. Rita, the main villain, absolutely love the changes that they made with her. I don't consider this a spoiler. She's not like the Rita from the main series. She's not this shrill, annoying, harpy. She's a villain with an actual background, with a end goal, which isn't destruction just for the sake of destruction, and she she actually seems menacing at this point. Whereas in the series, she never really felt menacing. She felt more like a stooge. In fact, in the series, she actually became more of a stooge than anything else. Um, but at this point, she doesn't seem like that. So definitely love the change there. The visuals of the game were not game but movie were absolutely fantastic. Uh, when when you actually see the power suits for the first time, it's really amazing. The suits look awesome. They're still functional. They look like they would definitely provide some protection, as well as enhancements to abilities. So it's definitely it was definitely a nice upgrade there. Um, Zordon, uh, absolutely fantastic. I don't really, I can't really complain there. In fact, he even got more of a backstory. He has more of that flawed element to him. So he's not like this malevolent, omnipresent, basically force. So it definitely improves there. Um, Alpha, absolutely fantastic. I think they kept the general feel of Alpha while updating him and making him seem more robotic than the main series in a good way. Still has that kind of unique personality thing, but definitely seems to go from one process to the next, and it's more what you would expect from a robot. So amazing there. The acting was fantastic. Definitely made the characters feel more organic. Whereas in the main series, the characters feel stiff, rigid, kind of in those trapped inside of the role as opposed to playing the role. Um, the fact that all of the characters are flawed before they become Power Rangers and remain flawed even as Rangers definitely is a excellent departure. They're not these goody two shoes. There's definitely the human element there. I mean, yeah, they're still very much so the good guys, but there's it's kind of like with the whole Batman thing. Technically, yeah, he's a superhero even though he doesn't have any superpowers, but it's his flaws, his backstory that really gives him the weight that he has. So, I mean, a superhero movie feeling organic is a hard thing to pull off, and I think they actually managed to do it here. I honestly, it's rare for me to even say this, but I give the movie a 10 out of 10 because it didn't wallow in nostalgia. It had the references back to it. When you see the Zords running, um, and they bring in the old school Power Rangers song, yeah, it definitely brings a smile to your face as a old school fan. It may seem a little jarring to people who aren't a fan of the series, but a lot of people have heard the Power Rangers song anyway. Um, but there was a perfect balance of drama, character building, and comedy in this movie to kind of keep you off balance. So excellent little touch there that they had throughout the movie. The writers of this movie, gotta applaud them on it. They did an excellent job of making it still feel like Power Rangers, but definitely Power Rangers 2.0. Definitely huge hats off to them. The musical score matched up with the movie perfectly. You weren't. It was so good that you weren't focusing on the music. The music was focusing you on the movie. And that's how a musical score should be. It was more ambient music than anything. I mean, yeah, the music would jump to the forefront when it was needed. But for the most part, the musical scores actually went well with the movie. It flowed into the movie as opposed to fighting with the movie for, sensory time. I really don't have anything that I can bitch and complain about. I mean, like I said, the visuals were fantastic. The character growth and creation, absolutely amazing. They kept the humanity aspect of superheroes, which is extremely hard to do. Each of the Power Rangers has a very unique personality. I mean, yeah, they're all teenagers, so you got a little bit of that teenage angst, but they all have their own reasons for their angst. They all have their own problems, and they end up having to kind of bear all that throughout the movie. But it's definitely nice to see. I'm glad that they did such an excellent job with this reboot. I hope that we get more reboots similar to this whenever they decide to reboot a movie or a TV series using a movie or whatever. They definitely nailed it on this one. They hit it out of the park. Hell, they hit it so far out of the park that it circumnavigated the planet and went outside of the park again. But yeah, there's not much more that I can say here, so I'm going to go ahead and end the video before it becomes too rambly. I know it's a shorter video than I normally put out, but hey, I mean, there's not much that can be said other than go see the movie. It's a fantastic movie, and whether you're a fan of the old series or if you've never watched an episode of the series, you'll still love this movie. I know that there's probably other bigger YouTubers out there who have already got their reviews of the movie in, and I'm sure that there's going to be some people bitching about certain aspects of it. But the thing is they're not going to be bitching so much about the movie as much about, politics in the movie and that sort of thing, which they actually poked fun at some stuff, brought some stuff to the forefront. Absolutely amazing. I love how it seemed like the writers definitely had that, look, if you're going to bitch about this, bring it attitude. Absolutely love that about the movie. I mean, I don't see anyone having any legitimate, bitching or anything like that about the movie because, I mean, it was it had diversity in it. It had strong female characters. It had characters that grew and learned, acknowledged mistakes. Um, it had characters, having to come to terms with their own feelings. I mean, whatever social problem you want to sit there and try to, cast onto this movie, it shrugs it off. And I haven't seen that in a movie ever. A lot of these movies nowadays are wallowing in this stuff. At this point, it's all like, hey, if you got a problem with it, here's the solution. Get the fuck over it. Get back to watching the movie and enjoying it. Stop ruining it for everyone else. So, I loved that about the movie as well. But like I said, not much more I can say other than go see the movie. And it's rare for me to say that. I definitely recommend seeing it in the theater because the visuals are so amazing. Seeing it on the big screen, I'm so glad I did it. It wouldn't be the same at home, but it still packs a punch even at that point, just with the writing and the music alone, and how the story progresses through. All right, have a good night, everyone, or a good day, depending on when you're watching this or where you are in the world. Be safe, and go and see the Power Rangers movie. It is awesome.